we drink wine. We want, as media institutions, to say their national values, and we should observe them and set that good example by regulating ourselves. And I'm a believer in self-regulation. So make no mistake, Kenya Film Classification Board will not come cracking down unless you have failed to comply. We engage you and you're not complying. That would be our last resort. We are now embarking on a nationwide campaign to raise the level of awareness about these vices and to tell the various players to do their role. Parents to do their role. So if the parents switch off their TV and keep the remote away from the children when they are not there, I think it's a good thing, because most parents are busy aching out and leaving. They leave early, come back late, tired, and they are leaving their children, especially now that schools are closed, to the TV, to the computer, to the phones. And our kids are very innovative. They can do fascinating things with the phone that the parents may never even get to understand. Musa Ndunda says, while we are concerned about children, we also need to promote a campaign on parental literacy when it comes to technology, because a lot of parents are actually not aware about the dangers that technology poses to their children. That we are doing in conjunction with the Communications Authority. So we believe by discussing these things, by bringing them to the dining table, by preaching them on Sunday or in the mosques on Friday or whatever other places of worship, by discussing them in schools, by embarking on a campaign to create national values and ensure that even our kids in school understand what is right and what is wrong, we'll reach a level of understanding. Like I said, morality is a relative term. What is moral to you may not be the same to me, but we need to come to an understanding where there is a compromise on what is good and what is wrong.
You have talked also during tours in the counties about exploitation and radicalization.
Yes.
Where does that come in?
Places like in the coast. I don't know, you have seen, I'm sure actually this station has aired clips where there was some girls, taken by Wazungus, and they have come up in the coast in certain exclusive villas where they are making these pornographic movies, and they are using girls and paying them. Some of the stuff they are doing is gory and unbelievable. Sex tourism has taken dimensions where it is totally unethical and against our culture, where even women are used as objects of exploitation, sex exploitation, and they are doing stuff with even animals. And these are foreigners who are coming to Malindi and other places and doing these kind of things. That's why we are working with the county commission, the county commissioners, and the police in those local areas to ensure that we rid those places of such vices. And we're asking the public to report. There's a campaign that Nyumba Kumi Joseph Kaguthi is using, which is very good. It says, ukiona sema, ukisikia sema, ukishuku sema. We want the public to own this campaign. We can't do it alone as a Kenya Film Classification Board. And that's why we have embarked on engagement with the stakeholders. From the creators of the movies, to the distributors, to the exhibitors, to the fellows who are showing in the shops within the estates and the towns. We are telling all of them to comply with the law and create systems. Like in most places, like in the Rift Valley, the film distributors and exhibitors are formed groups where they police one another. And I was very gratified when I went to meet the county commissioner to hear them say that actually they go checking, their chairman goes checking if Muteka is operating a video shop, whether you have the sticker from the Kenya Film Classification Board to show that the films or movies that you're showing are classified. And this is very good. This is the kind of culture that we want to encourage, that we promote self-regulation and adherence to the law on our own without allowing people or police to chase us to our bedrooms. I think it's the culture of compliance to the law that we are lacking.
Are you aware that if you give stickers, they can be faked?
Yes, we are aware, but
just
of course,
like the Kenya Revenue Authority stickers.
We are IT compliant, so we ensure that they are special, the watermark quality, that we can identify which ones belong to us and the ones that are faked. Obviously, in the music industry, MCSK is bearing the brand because Kekobo, Kenya Corporate Board, issues those stickers, and people go and make their own. So we are aware about all that, but we are staging raids to ensure that where there is a breach of the law, then those people will face the consequences.
Then talk about radicalization. We have talked about exploitation. What about radicalization?
Radicalization is the new frontier now.
Yes, yeah.
And by the way, Mutegi, now they are using Al-Shabaab and other terror groups are using technology. They are using DVDs. They are using CDs to perpetuate and propagate their messages. And unsuspecting parents, while you are seated next to your child, they could be on sites or watching stuff that is actually radicalizing them or recruiting them to Al-Shabaab. You saw the case of the mother in Kilimani.
Yeah,
who's 13-year-old
I know that woman. Yes, I know her.
Yeah, and that is just one case. There are so many all over the country where kids are being recruited. Garissa, for example, where I was 2 days ago, has borne the brand of terror attacks. And you saw the last one at the Garissa University College. The ringleader of that group was a lawyer, son of a chief, to be precise. And this is a person who is supposed to be morally upright. But because of technology and because of other avenues that we may not suspect, using technology, children even in colleges are being radicalized, are being recruited into these terror groups. It is important that as a parent you become aware and you observe and you be keen to know what your kids are watching.
But as you said, what Ndunda says, parents may not know. They not even this phone or this material here.
Yes.
My son or my daughter, who is 15,
yes,
or 20, may know how to use many aspects of it than me.
Absolutely. What
do we do?
What we have done is we have engaged Google, the tech giant Google, and we had a conference in Nairobi 3 weeks ago where they even send experts from Washington DC, and the idea is to come up with settings within your phone or your computer where as a parent you can determine, you can lock certain sites so that your kids have no access. So that's one of the steps that we are taking, working with Google. And those, by the way, those settings are already available, and Google is now working with us to create awareness on what parents can do to block those pornographic and other dangerous sites from being accessed by their children. Number two, Google has created a network of what they are calling trusted flaggers. Trusted flaggers are credible organizations like the Kenya Film Classification Board who are given the mandate to monitor broadcast content or even material on the internet. And once you think that material is inappropriate, if you have signed that with Google and you're their trusted flagger and you notify them, they will bring that content down within 1 hour. Then number three, we have created empowerment process for the children themselves, using what we are calling web rangers. Web rangers is like the Scouts Union to use children to promote moral values and to police one another and find pleasure in what is good, as opposed to the programs that expose pornography and nudity as glamorous and something to be emulated. Muteki, this thing has become even more dangerous. I am told in certain contexts, right now it has moved from Instagram, where children share just photos. Now they are sharing what they are calling nudes. That if you want to be my friend, you send me your nude, I send you my nude, and if you are not in that, then you are not with it. These are the things parents need to know. So parents must take responsibility for what their children are watching. Otherwise, we are losing the next generation. So we are saying the debate must be with all of us. It should not be left to the law enforcement agencies.
Let me read what viewers are saying. Some of them positive, some negative. Somebody is asking why you have allowed our industry, film industry, to be taken over by Tanzania and Uganda and Nigerians. What are you doing about this?
Well, that's very true. I mean, like I said,
your business is not content production.
We also license the creation. Right now, as I told you, under the parastatal reforms, we have been given the mandate to regulate. All the regulatory functions are with us, but this is a new function. So that's why we started by engagement. You see, other people start by tightening the law or even creating new laws. I tell you, Mutegi, we have enough laws What we do not have is the respect for the law, the culture of constitutionalism and respect for the law. So what we are doing is not to block Nigerian movies or other movies from coming to Kenya. We are saying as they come to Kenya, bring them to the Kenya Film Classification Board for examination and classification. Then you can exhibit. As long as you put the right label in the right place, and as long as you observe the watershed period principles, we have no problem, whether it is local or foreign content. But Mutek, you are aware that we have banned some foreign content that came to Kenya that we thought was not fit for our consumption. The Wolf of the Wall Street was banned by this board. The 50 Shades of Grey, not too long ago, was banned by this board. So we are very keen, and once we ban the film and you dare show it in our local TV, the consequences are dire. We will enforce the law.
Some people have, in fact 3 or 4 people have asked a question about advertising.
Yes. What
about ads like the product, you know, condom? I don't want to name what
Absolutely.
Product. The condoms that require that are obscene. What kids are told that enjoy sex with with that condom.
Absolutely. I know, but let me help you. I'm aware about the
adverts. What about that?
As we speak right now, I've written to, for example, the manufacturers of alcoholic drinks, because we also cover that aspect. And we have a committee with NACADA that is supposed to enforce these kind of things. But we have realized that some of them are bypassing the Kenya Film Classification Board and going directly to the media houses, and they are being advertised. I've written to them. They will take responsibility for the adverts that show if they have nudity, if they fall within watershed, and if they are not supposed to be aired at a time when children are watching, whether they promote alcoholic drinks, or whether they are promoting violence, or whether they are promoting obscene language. This morning, the letters will be going out to them to tell them we are watching, and especially now that our kids are at home and during the festive season, please comply, because we are not blocking, we are not barring anybody from coming up with a creative ad. All we are saying is bring that ad for classification, so that we'll tell you whether it is suitable for which age group. We have a duty to impose restrictions on age limit when it comes to what they view, what our kids are exposed to.
Some viewers are not happy with your mention of caste, and can the gentleman tell us how caste incited? He's telling Oitra is somebody from Nakuru, Condro Teach, and another one called Dr. Mutai. They are not amused by your mentioning.
I think let me correct it. Let me make the record straight. First of all, the mention of caste, I mean, there are many that we can mention. It's just an example, because Joshua was working for caste. Otherwise, so far we are working very closely. And in fact, some of the campaigns that we are carrying out, caste is the strongest supporter. But we have a case in point that will never go away until that case is determined. It's not to mean that we have anything against caste or against a particular radio stations. These laws
we talk generally about vernacular.
Yes.
And the people in the vernacular radio stations needing training. And also the fact that many of them may be comedians, they may be people just they know the language.
Yes.
And I think it's generally, to me, in my view, it is a concern that we have people who are in vernacular radio stations who do not know the difference between use of a language and the professional. And they are not professional.
Absolutely.
They think if you are working for a Kikuyu language station, you are promoting Kikuyu interests.
Absolutely, and that's the danger.
Because when you are speaking English you are not promoting English.
Interest.
English or Muzungu.
Absolutely. That's what our vernacular journalists need to know. That you are a journalist like another.
But only using that language.
Only using that as a medium of communication.
Exactly.
But otherwise you are bound by the code of ethics that binds everybody else. If you are a comedian and you have innovative ways of engaging your audience, well and good. But please do it within the law. You are a journalist, or you are using media, and you should be bound by the code of ethics that governs all the operations of the media.
In fact, my message to them always has been, if you are working for Chamge, for instance, which is a radio station owned by Royal Media, this company, they must know that they are not there to champion the interests of Kalenjins.
Absolutely. I couldn't put it better.
That the way they don't understand.
I couldn't put
and
it
that's
better.
very dangerous.
Yes.
If you do that, then the country will be in shambles.
But Mutegi, you have seen, especially when it comes to electioneering period, then journalists are sucked into the tribal cocoons. And vernacular stations. And that's why the particular station I was mentioning, that's how in 2007 it was perceived to be promoting those ethnic as opposed to the national interest of the country. So that perception is actually not just exclusive of that particular station, but of many other vernacular stations even today. And it gets worse when we are going to the elections. So we need to be careful so that radio stations can observe the code of ethics, because it applies to all of us.
You have gone to the counties.
Yes.
And you have told us the reason why you have gone there.
Yes.
What is the extent of your operations? Because it looks like a major job. This one.
We are in all the regions. Fortunately, there is no region in this country that we are not represented. Formerly, we were using the provincial headquarters as they were before. So we had offices there, but because of the county structures and devolution, we have extended to cover more areas. So we have offices all over the country where Kenya Film Classification Board officers operate and enforce the law just the way we do at the headquarters. And because of this mandate that deals with the public interest and promotion of national values, then we cannot work alone. That's why we are engaging the county governments, we are engaging the county commissioners, and we are working with the police and law enforcement agencies at the local areas. Because when we stage a raid, we require the support of the police, because it's a security issue. And therefore we are appealing to the police that when our officers come to the regions where you operate and they request your support, please support the work of the Kenya Film Classification Board so that our officers can enforce the law.
There is somebody who is very happy with you. Excellent discussion. When Mutua, you have versed very well in many areas. You command the issues properly. Thank you, citizen. But somebody also says, I'm blessed that I'm listening to this program. What about the matatu industry? You've addressed it.
Yes.
It's another one that pushes down into our throats bad content. It needs regulation also. So what are you going to, you mentioned it, but what can you do about matatu?
We have engaged the stakeholders in that sector.
Matatu owners?
We have, yes, matatu owners, the authority that's supposed to police the operations of the transport, public transport, and we are calling a meeting, after which now we'll be raiding these places. Remember, our job is to enforce the law, is to protect moral values. We are acting on behalf of the public. We are paid from public coffers so that we can ensure that our moral values are protected. We are asking Kenyans to support us. Like I said, we are using the slogan, ukisikia sema, ukiona sema, ukishuku sema. We are available. You can call us. You can reach our offices and report these issues. But the public transport sector is notorious for playing these kind of videos that show nudity and violence and so on, and where the public, you know, is exposed. And people are complaining. Parents are coming to our places and they're saying, look, I ride into a matatu in Mombasa, you know, one of the Islamic leaders told us that he had to get out of a matatu because he got in with a daughter, and what they saw was not acceptable. So, and this is happening all over the country. Please, 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 we can show videos that still are within the taste of everybody, and do not devalue our decency. Somebody called Linus from Pokot says, total support with your argument. Something should be done, otherwise this rot of this rot in the media will ruin our society. Please stop such obscene languages like the one used by a certain DJ. I'm not going to name it. It's terrible. Then another person says, a group of old people like you, religious and conservative people, should not be telling us the whole country to be like them. Well, look, we are a public body. We are established under the law. The laws are enacted by Parliament. Parliament is the representative of the people. So, first of all, we are a legal body. We are not pretending to assume that we know and we will prescribe moral values for everybody. But to the extent that the law tells us to do it, then we are going to do it. And remember, people don't like complying with the law, you know. People would prefer there was no regulation. People would prefer it was free for all. We are saying this is a country that is governed by law. But more than enforcing the law, Mutegi, we are saying, please, please support us. It is in your own interest. Even if you operate, you are running a media house. You're also a parent. You're a brother. You're a sister. You're a mother. And these things will affect you. We are living in the same society. So let us collaborate in these things.
Other people are going back to the same subject of condom is advertising. I don't know whether you think you should.
That is very annoying. You know, I have received delegates from religious organizations, from parents who are telling us to stop that. And like I've told you, we have written to the people who are producing those adverts. If they don't bring them for classification, then we are going to ensure that the law is enforced. But there's another thing, Mutegi, that we are going to do. Some people have complained about the mention of certain radio stations and so on. I'll tell you, we'll be that ruthless. Okay? We'll be that ruthless. If we engage and it's not working, we have a name and shame campaign that we're also going to undertake. And we'll be doing it. And we're engaging with the audience to know that this media house does not stand for what they preach. And we are saying, if you are criticizing other sections of the society, for God's sake, try and also live within the law. Those who preach to others should actually lead by example.
There is somebody called Solomon from Kogelo who is supporting you, and he says that he thinks 80% of TV programming should be seen by you. He thinks
well. That's a campaign, yeah. And I'm very Solomon. Is that Solomon?
Yeah, Solomon.
Solomon, yeah. I thank you. That's why we are going around the country. We want people to understand what we are doing. We want them to know why we are doing it, and we want to seek their support. This is not a responsibility of the Kenya Film Classification Board. It's the responsibility of the Communications Authority. It's the communications of the Director of Public Prosecution. The responsibility of the police. It is the responsibility of parents, religious organizations, and everybody. Let us work together and ensure that we rid this country of the rot that the media can bring. Media is good, technology is good, but the flip side of it is that we can expose our children to material that is not appropriate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mutua.
Thank you, Mutegi.
And with those remarks from the CEO, we will now go to the band from Kajendo.